Lord, walk with me through the fire, through the pressure, through the doubt in me. Build the man you designed me to be. Living the man code, yeah, this that man code.
We need to man up, Lord, show us the blueprint. Now we fighting silent wars, trying to keep our minds fixed. Bills due, dreams fade, pride heavy, still praying every night. God, keep me ready. I was told that the strong never cried. Where pain got buried and why we failed in our pride. But a real man leads when his knees hit the floor. Found strength and surrender, now I'm ready for war. A king don't run when the pressure gets thick. He served first, stand firm, don't quit. Faith over ego, purpose over fame. Every scar got a story, every loss built a name. We sons, we fathers, we shepherds, we guides. Trying to break these generational lies. Ain't perfect, but we growing through the process. God built worries out of brokenness and progress.
It's that man code.
Faith in the heart, fire in the soul.
It's that man code.
Lead with truth, never sell your soul.
It's that man code.
Stand tall when the whole world falls. Welcome to the ManCode.
It's that man
Lord, walk with me.
through the fire, through the pressure, through the doubt in me. Build the man you designed me to be. Living the man code, yeah, this that man code.
Welcome to the ManCode. Today we ask a question that echoes throughout all of our homes, through cities, through churches, through prison cells, through boardrooms, through empty apartments late at night. What does it really mean to be a man today? I am the host of the ManCode. This is our first edition, and I'm excited to start this out. What does it mean to be a man today? Because somewhere along the way, it seems like a lot of men have stopped knowing who they are. A man can have muscles and he could still be weak. He can have money and still be broke. He can have followers online, people that like his social posts, but still feel unloved and feel completely alone. Today we're going to speak honestly about that. This is not a political referendum. This is not a culturally focused dialogue, and this is not emotionally driven. But this is the truth in action, because there are a lot of men that I know, and I'm sure men that you know, that are hurting. So many of us, we carry pressure that we don't speak about. We have pressure to provide. There's pressure to succeed. We have pressure to lead. We have pressure to never cry. And we're pressured to pretend that everything is all right when deep inside we're exhausted. I know there are some men listening right now that are just one negative thing happening from giving up. We have a lot of us, we're silently battling anger while others are trapped in some form of addiction. I talk to a lot of men, and specifically men that are married, that have families. They are physically present, but emotionally they're absent. They don't feel loved. There's a complete disconnect between them and their wives, or between them and the kids. And while we look successful in the public eye, we're having a private collapse, an erosion of identity. The tragedy is this: so many of us, we've learned how to survive, but we've never learned how to stay whole. The culture keeps changing about the definition of manhood. I hear a phrase all the time over the past 5-6 years about how masculinity is toxic. And then the next day, it's glorified aggression without having character. We have on one side, one generation is telling us that we have to be dominant, and then another that's telling us we have to disappear and fade in the background. It's difficult to live in all the noise. There's a discipline that we have to employ, and I really feel bad because for us right now, and this really what kind of created the idea for this podcast, because even in church, it seems like the messaging, the culture leans more towards women and not towards men. And now, of course, women probably gravitate to the church a little faster than men. We've adopted, most of us have adopted kind of a lone wolf approach to our existence. But yes, real men need God. Real men need community. Real men need love. Real men need respect. It's so difficult because we're living in an emotional desert, so many of us. And while we know that a real man isn't controlled by his impulses, he shouldn't be led by lust, he shouldn't be ruled by his ego, he absolutely should not abandon his responsibility. He knows that he should be a covering, he should be a protector, he should serve, he should lead with integrity. He should stand when adversity presents itself at his front door. One of our greatest crises, one of the greatest crises that we have today is not the absence of strong men. It's the absence of men being able to stay present. And we want to talk about that a little bit. How do we right this wrong? How do we give a clear definition of what it means to be a man? I can tell you that I came up in a male-dominant household. My father, we would consider him today a man's man. And as I age, as I get older, I understand how he was able to not just assume that identity, but how his environment helped to shape, helped to forge that identity. I can honestly tell you that I never saw my mother and father argue. My mother upheld my father's honor in front of us, and I grew up in a semi-large family. I can remember he sat at the head of the table. I know that he had his own recliner. I remember that black recliner. And you better not sit in that recliner, because it wasn't him who would talk to you. It was actually our mother. It was like, you know better. Get out of his chair. And while I'm not going to blame women, because that's too simple. You know, when we have our men's classes here at Victory Church, one of the things that I talk about is what's our contribution to the problem, right? What did we do, right, to exacerbate these situations? And really, it's been a social development over the past 50, 60 years. I remember even on television, fathers were made over time to be kind of the quote buffoon unquote of the show, versus I remember the show with Fred McMurray, My Three Sons, and when he would come home from work, whatever the scenario was, whatever the situation was, his sons would show him so much honor, versus what happened with the show that we had with the character Al Bundy, who was really the antithesis of the character that Fred McMurray played on My Three Sons. Married with Children, I think, was the name of the television show. And a lot of the matrix, the format of that show went on, where the wife or the children would have the wisdom, would really do the right thing, and the dad was treated more of a joke. And I know what somebody's saying, oh man, you watch too much TV, Pastor. But no, that was just a part of it. Even in our homes, a lot of it, things changed, things shifted. Both parents had to work. And in a lot of instances, my generation, we were kind of raised by television a little bit, right? That's when cable television first came out. I remember the first little boxes that we had on top of the converter box that we had on top of the television. We only had maybe one or two televisions. Our first television, of course, was not color. It was a black and white small television by today's standards. And man, we would watch that, and all sorts of different types of shows penetrated the culture of our homes growing up. And so what it means to be a man, the definition has changed, right? And so now what's happened is we have men that were children then grew up and became fathers. And some of the behaviors were accepted, right? Were accepted. And so we've talked a little bit about some of the problems, and we're going to go really in depth in this podcast over the next several months about our identity, about the biblical definition of what a man is, how we're supposed to conduct ourselves, and really get into the nuance. And I'm not trying to be preachy at all. I'm not trying to be preachy at all. But I felt that this was necessary. About a year ago at Victory, I noticed that we had a lot of men that were kind of just straggling in, and they wanted to have conversations one-off with me about their situation. And I'm so blessed. I felt led to start a men's ministry where we get together once a month just to have conversations about us. Really, there was some standardized curriculum, and I can tell you, I don't think we've ever gotten past the first chapter of any of the books that we've gotten into. We have such a unique paradigm going on for men, and so many men are struggling. So many men are struggling. And what that means is, if the man is struggling, that means the family is struggling, because guess what? You need a strong mother and father, right? We have to be present. Guess what? If the family is hurting, the community is hurting. And now what you have is the absence of ethics and morals. There's no code of conduct in our society. One of the greatest crises we have is the absence of present men. Us being present. Why aren't we present? Sometimes we don't know. So many times we face situations that we're unprepared for, right? I think probably about 70% of where we start in our conversations at our men's gatherings are really about relationships and marriages, right? The relationships with our wives, with the opposite sex, and there's so much misunderstanding. There's so much hurt, disappointment, anxiety. And as we get down into it, and not just in the class, but also individually in the individual coaching opportunities, what I discover is that we need perspective. Perspective. You say perspective, what are you talking about? I remember one specific gathering we had where one of the men was talking about how his wife mistreats him. And he went on for about 5-10 minutes. What he said, I absolutely know that it was real to him. But then I asked him a simple question. I said, have you ever asked her how she feels and what sparked that behavior? Or did you do what most men do? Because it's something innately about us that we can become very rigid, very defensive about our disposition. I'm not saying that you have to back up and accept everything, but I am saying that we do have to listen if we're to be leaders of our households. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that. he pulled back. I said, we have to take into account that other people have been through other things. And the best conversation we can have as men to our wives, to our families, to our communities is getting up and doing it. Let me say it again. The best conversation we can have with our families is being that example. What do you mean? Real strength is getting up every morning and carrying your responsibility when nobody's applauding you, nobody's complimenting you. Leading your family when people know that you've gone through tremendous conflict and you're doing it in love and with a smile. Setting the right example shows that you can come back and ask for forgiveness, even from your children. Saying, hey, you know what, I'm sorry I did that. I was angry, I was upset. Don't just walk around as if just because we're men, we're right. That breaks down a lot of barriers in our family. And we begin to get the opportunity to truly demonstrate leadership in our households. There's a lot of different variations, and I know this is kind of a general start off. And I know it's going to get better as we go along as each podcast is created. But I will tell you that, yes, some of us have pretty sordid past, right? Not all of us grew up with the mother and father. Not all of us had great childhoods, right? But let me tell you, your past might explain some of your behaviors, but it absolutely does not have to define who you are and where you're going. You need to remember that you're not doomed to repeat every cycle you came from. You don't have to be engulfed by addiction, whatever that is. You don't have to be enraged and prove your point that I'm a real man because I can tear some things up. You don't have to dismiss yourself and become absent in your children's lives, even though you might not have a great relationship with their mother. We identify and recognize that God has a purpose in our lives, and there is a powerful dignity in being a man. There's power and authority in doing what's right. You don't lose your manhood or power by being honest. You lose it when you show that you can't stand up for what's right, even when you might have done wrong. One of the things that we really try to emphasize is having a good community. Not just people who you hang out with and y'all can, we can kick it and, hey man, we can go fishing, we can go smack some golf balls around, right? We're going hunting, we're gonna go bowling, we're gonna watch the game together, right? We're gonna brag and overstate our romantic experience, right? No, you need a community that will give you counsel, give you support, so you can continue to learn, right? You can continue to grow, so you can confront the things that are broken inside of you. Being a real man means having courage to face your truth. And making yourself available for realignment. You say, what are you talking about, realignment? Sometimes our priorities are maligned, right? We don't, we're not in the right area. I grew up in a time where it was okay to get a whooping, you know? Not only can you not do that the same way now, these kids, they're kind of immune to that. They'd rather take a spanking, right? And still go do whatever it is that they want to do. So we have to change. We have to modify some things. We have to modify our own behaviors, our own actions to set the right example. And then we have to modify our ability to hear, our ability to listen, actively listen to what's going on around us. That doesn't mean that you're justifying bad action, that you're justifying bad behavior, that you're justifying disrespect in your household. But you really want to try to develop an understanding of the people that you're supposed to be leading. When we do that, go back through a realignment, we find out that some of us, we're not serving the right master. Some of us serve money. Some of us serve our own egos. Some of us serve for pleasure. We serve an image. Some of us, we bow down to anger. But what we find out is that what you serve will influence and absolutely could possibly control you. That's why so many of us are empty. I love this analogy because it's real. I can remember having some stressful conversations in my relationship, and it was stressful for a while. It didn't easily go away. I loved the Lord. I was saved. I was trying to do the right thing, and I remember I would get in my car and go to Walmart. This is when Walmart used to be open 24 hours, 7 days a week. I don't know if it's open 24 hours, 7 days a week anymore since COVID. But I would just walk around. I would just walk around and just get lost in products, right? Just get lost in my thoughts. And I remember I had done this for a little bit, and a lot of you all out there know what I'm talking about because you've written me. You've called me, you've talked to me. Man, it's like, hey, Pastor, you're spot on. And I looked up one day, and there were so many men, nothing in their baskets, just walking around Walmart, empty, not feeling like they had a place to belong, not feeling understood and appreciated. It's hard. And we do have to make some changes with the advent of some of these new technologies. We have a lot more information, and I'm going to use a term, and I hope y'all don't kick me out. You have to have some self-care, right? Now, in the old days, just going to the golf course, maybe get your mind at ease, or going fishing. I love to fish. Going fishing, or hunting, or going to fix a car right in your garage. Yes, you're in your projects. Some of us, we even cut lawns, right? We'll watch TV shows and sporting events and get lost in that. But we're coming back to a place where we weren't really deliberate and intentional in the while we were doing it. You have to have some self-care. You have to be able to kind of evaluate yourself. Be open to constructive feedback. And position yourself where you can stand strong when the culture around you is unstable. That you can love your family even when you don't feel like they're respecting you the way you should be respected. It means having some conviction when everybody else is compromising themselves. It means you refuse to abandon your responsibility, even if your wife makes more money than you. Woo! I know that's a big thing right now, right? Even when your wife brings to your attention that she makes more money than you, and she is not your mother. It means choosing discipline over excuses. It means being consistent and dependable instead of trying to impress everyone. And it means understanding that you have to connect to a higher power to get the authority and the endurance to stand, right? Your manhood is not proven by your strength. Your manhood is proven by the character behind the strength. You can rule your household by fear, but that's only going to go so far. And what you're going to find is that your family will reject you. But if you really want to be revered, you stand up for something. You have a value system. You stay committed, even in difficult times. Your family will remember your integrity, your faithfulness, your consistency, and your presence. So, as we're coming to a close here, I think I'm a little bit over. I'm not going to edit this. I know I wanted this to be raw and start out this way. The question you have to ask yourself is, what code will I live by? Will I kind of just go whatever way? Will I continue to act like a child and follow my youthful pursuits? Or will I connect to something greater than myself? Will I stand for something greater than myself? Can I accept constructive feedback? Can I be disciplined and faithful and humble and courageous when I don't feel like it? Today is the day that you start conducting an analysis of who you are. And I want you to do a deep dive into yourself. I'd love for you to be able to just sit down and think, what type of man do I want to be? And ask God for the strength and the power to get there. Today is the day that you listening out there, you're going to stop making excuses. You're going to stop hiding. You're going to stop running. You're going to stand and look at yourself in the mirror. And not just see who you have been, who you are now, but what kind of man does God want you to be? Man, I love each and every one of you all. If you need to reach me, you can contact me at pastor@victorycenter.church. Again, that's pastor@victorycenter, CENTER.church. This is the ManCode, and I'm looking forward to going on this journey with you.
Yeah. Lord, walk with me. Through the fire, through the pressure, through the doubt in me. Build the man you designed me to be. Living the ManCode, yeah, this that ManCode. We need to man up, Lord. Show us the blueprint. Now we fighting silent wars, trying to keep our minds fixed. Bills due, dreams fade, pride heavy, still praying every night. God keep me ready. I was told that the strong never cry. Where pain got buried and why we felt in our pride. But a real man leads when his knees hit the floor. Found strength and surrender, now I'm ready for war. A king don't run when the pressure get thick. He serve first, stand firm, don't quit. Faith over ego, purpose over fame. Every scar got a story, every loss built a name. We sons, we fathers, we shepherds, we guys. Trying to break these generational lies. Ain't perfect, but we growing through the process. God built walkings out of brokenness in progress. It's that ManCode. Faith in the heart, fire in the soul. It's that ManCode. Lead with truth, never sell your soul. It's that ManCode. Stand tall when the whole world falls. Welcome to the ManCode podcast.
God bless you all.